Keir Starmer told us he had Donald Trump figured out. His team briefed every newspaper in the country. The Trump Whisperer, they called him, the man who could charm the most unpredictable leader on earth. That fantasy just hit an iceberg. This week, Starmer and Yvette Cooper actively blocked the United States from using Diego Garcia, a British-controlled military base, to launch a planned strike on Iran. They blocked America, our closest ally, in the middle of a potential military conflict. Here's what we're covering today. 1. How Starmer's so-called special relationship with Trump was always a mirage, and why anyone who's watched politics for more than 5 minutes knew it. 2. How the Chagos Islands surrender is now directly poisoning the U.S.-UK relationship. And 3. Why blocking Diego Garcia could trigger the most serious breakdown between Downing Street and the White House in modern British history. The Trump Whisperer isn't whispering anymore. He's whimpering. Let's rewind to that first visit. Starmer flies to Washington, meets Trump in the White House, and by all accounts, it goes well. There's flattery, there's the famous letter from the king. Trump imposes the lowest rate of tariffs on Britain. The media laps it up. Starmer's team is euphoric. And right there, right in that moment of euphoria, the seeds of disaster were planted. Because Starmer's operation made the most elementary mistake in politics. They believed their own spin. They got high on their own supply. Those aren't my words. That's the assessment from seasoned political commentators who watched this car crash coming from a mile away. Here's what Downing Street conveniently forgot. Donald Trump is unfailingly kind to Western allies when they first meet. With British prime ministers, he's doubly generous. He loves Britain. He loves Scotland. He loves the royal family. That warmth at the first meeting means absolutely nothing. Don't believe me? Ask Theresa May. In January 2017, newspapers described her first meeting with Trump as a love-in. The special relationship had never been stronger, they said. Sound familiar? By 2018, Trump was publicly branding May as in turmoil. By 2019, he called her a disaster. The warmth evaporated the moment Trump concluded she couldn't deliver, the moment he decided she was weak. And that is exactly the trajectory Starmer is now on, except he's accelerating down it at 3 times the speed. But it gets worse, much worse. To understand why the relationship is collapsing, you need to understand the Chagos Islands deal, because this is where Starmer made his fatal error. The Chagos Archipelago includes Diego Garcia, one of the most strategically important military bases on the planet. It sits in the Indian Ocean. It's used by both British and American forces. It is critical to Western security operations across the entire region. And Keir Starmer agreed to give it away. He signed a deal to hand sovereignty of the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. He tried to dress it up as necessary, sensible, inevitable. He looked Donald Trump in the eye and tried to sell him that line. The problem? Everyone knew it was neither necessary nor sensible. It was a surrender, a capitulation to international legal pressure that a stronger prime minister would have resisted. And while Trump may not have grasped the full scale of the disaster immediately, the White House has now caught up. And here's what Starmer doesn't understand about Trump. There is one quality Donald Trump despises above all others: deception. Not disagreement, not even opposition, deception, trying to pull the wool over his eyes, pretending a bad deal is a good one. Starmer tried exactly that, and now Trump knows it. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal in the final section of this video is the historical parallel that should terrify every single person in Downing Street right now. It involves what Trump did to the last British Prime Minister who lost his trust, and it was brutal. Now we arrive at this week, and this is where the situation goes from bad to catastrophic. The United States is planning a potential military strike on Iran. This is not a drill. This is not saber-rattling. This is active operational planning by the most powerful military on the planet. And they wanted to use Diego Garcia, the base that Britain still controls, for now, before Starmer's Chagos surrender goes through. Starmer said no. Keir Starmer and Home Secretary Yvette Cooper actively blocked the Americans from using a British-controlled base to conduct operations against Iran. Now think about what that means. Think about the signal it sends. At the precise moment when the Western alliance needs to project unity and strength, the British Prime Minister is obstructing American military operations. He's not offering an alternative. He's not negotiating terms. He's blocking. And why? Because he's weak. Because his backbenchers, the Labor left, the faction that detests Trump, are putting pressure on him. He's giving succor to people who hate the American president, rather than standing with Britain's most important strategic ally. This is not principle, it's cowardice. It's a prime minister so domestically fragile that he's willing to sacrifice the most important bilateral relationship in British history to keep his own parliamentary party quiet another week. Trump sees this. Trump sees all of it. And Trump does not forget. Here's the historical parallel I promised you, and it should keep Starmer awake at night. When Trump lost faith in Theresa May, he didn't just criticize her privately, he humiliated her publicly. He gave interviews calling her a disaster. He praised George Burgeon, her rival, while she was still in office. He systematically undermined her on the world stage. And May had only disappointed Trump on Brexit. She hadn't tried to deceive him about a strategic military base. She hadn't blocked American military operations in the Middle East. What Starmer has done is orders of magnitude worse. He tried to con Trump on the Chagos deal. He's now actively obstructing U.S. military planning, and he's doing it while his own government is imploding domestically, with the Mandelson scandal, the Rayner leadership threat, and poll numbers that are falling through the floor. Trump has seen off multiple British prime ministers. He watched Cameron leave, he watched May crumble, he watched Johnson rise and fall, he watched Truss come and go in 49 days, he watched Sunak lose a landslide. And now he's watching Starmer, a prime minister with a massive parliamentary majority, but absolutely no authority, no backbone, no strategic vision. A man who thought flattery and a royal letter would be enough to manage the most transactional leader in American history. The special relationship is not a birthright. It is not guaranteed by history or sentiment. It is maintained by mutual respect, strategic alignment, and trust. Starmer has damaged all three. And if Trump concludes, as he concluded with May, that the British Prime Minister is simply not someone he can work with, the consequences for this country will be severe. Trade deals, security cooperation, intelligence sharing, all of it is on the table when the relationship breaks down. Starmer isn't just failing domestically, he's now failing on the world stage. And unlike his backbenchers, Donald Trump cannot be managed with a reshuffle and a speech. So, here's where we are. The Trump whisperer narrative is dead. It was always a fantasy, built on one warm meeting, a royal letter, and a Downing Street operation that was naive enough to believe its own press releases. The Chagos Islands surrender poisoned the well. The Diego Garcia block may have destroyed it entirely. And Starmer is now heading exactly down the same path as Theresa May, except faster and with far more at stake. If you agree that this government is failing, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the fallout from this is only just beginning, and I'll be right here breaking down every single development as it happens.